Hey everyone, this is something important I thought I should mention. If you look at the main.tf file, okay, if someone accidentally probably enabled certain ports, we may have a security vulnerability. And I want to show you how that would happen. If someone edited this file and then you look at this compose file, we have access, okay, externally to the database, to Redis, to Kafka, okay. So I want the internal tools to only be used internally. And for that to happen, I am going to remove these ports, okay. This is just a way of having defense in depth so that if someone modifies the Terraform security groups intentionally or accidentally, okay, and opens up ports, our Docker services are still protected. It's best practice not to expose what doesn't need exposing, okay? Now, if you look at the database, also the DB, up here, where is it? Here, we don't need to expose these ports, okay? So I'll remove this part, okay? In case we need access, you see this database URL says Postgres at DB, okay? In fact, even this whole string can be picked externally. That is something I'm going to do for the app in production. If you want to do it, you can, okay? Clone, not clone, fork, and adjust, okay? Then if I move on to Redis, okay, also this is going to be used internally, so I can remove this. Okay, so the DB is done, Redis is done, Kafka, we also need to remove Kafka, okay. This is only going to be accessed internally, okay. So if any service needs to communicate with Kafka, it will use the Kafka service name, no need for the port. Let me see. Okay, Redis, Kafka is done. The same for Kafka UI, but for Kafka UI, I can bind to localhost. Later, I will create a server block in Nginx and enable port 8080 in the security groups to allow Kafka UI. But for now, I'm just going to bind it to localhost, okay? Because I may need it later, okay? But just to test that the UI is okay, I may have my own scraping tool whereby it can SSH into the EC2 instance, call this endpoint, retrieve the HTML, and render it for me where I want it to be. Yeah, so I can bind it to localhost, but ideally, in future, I'm going to create a subdomain. So it will be like Kafka UI dot or Kafka.airborneventures.com. So when I go to it, I have a login. Okay. Okay. So, okay, this is done. Prometheus also should be accessible only internally. Okay. We don't need to access it from outside. So I'll remove the ports. What else do I need to do? Grafana, I can also bind it to localhost. Okay. Yeah. Bind it to localhost like that. What else comes to my mind? Loki needs to be removed because you see this fast value. Okay. It's like giving access to what is inside. So I remove that. What else? I think that is good. Of course, right now nothing can happen because of our security groups on AWS. And of course, also if you look at the workflow, we had strict Nginx rules, okay, whereby when the server is listening on port 80, okay, the address that request should come from should be api.airborneventures.com. Okay, that when you hit this endpoint, okay, will direct you to localhost port 8000. You get only that. So if I wanted to maybe have Kafka UI, I will need the server block for Kafka, maybe a server block for Grafana, and then come here and enable a security group of firewall to allow port 3001 and port 880. So this is something, yeah, very small but important. I wanted you to know about it, that sometimes you don't need to expose what does it need exposing. All right, so I hope you learned something small and important from this video. Like, share, subscribe. See you in the next live stream or recorded video. Bye for now.